I had to get my little café for café con pan.
Ah, mira, yo tengo el mío también.
Sabrosura pa' ti que qué.
Hola, hola. Welcome back to Café con Pam, where we share our stories over cafecito. Yo soy Pam, and our stories come from first generation Latina and people of the global majority. No se te olvide, subscribe, hit the like button, ring the bell, all the things, so you never miss out on our cafecito time. El día de hoy, we have a conversation with Chris Leyva. Chris is a dynamic director celebrated for his unique blend of humor, cultural authenticity, and heartfelt storytelling. Best known for the indie comedy Horchata with Oatmilk and the acclaimed drama Addicted to You, Chris is currently expanding his repertoire with the crime thriller The Lines We Cross and the animated series Not Your Average Theo, part of the Hella Black Mexican brand. With a passion for uplifting Latino voices and bringing fresh perspectives to the screen, Chris is a rising talent in both live action and animation. Listeners, this conversation with Chris was a lot of fun because he's from San Diego, so we got to reminisce on some of the neighborhoods where he grew up in. And we, of course, talked about horchata with oat milk, which is really funny. I think, as you will hear me say, there's opportunity for more. Pero bueno, I'll give you a reflection after you watch my conversation with Chris Leyva. Chris, welcome to Cafe con Pam.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, no, of course. I'm delighted to have you and to dive into your work because it's awesome. So let's go back a little bit in time. We're gonna talk about horchata with oat milk, but you're from San Diego, and that's what we were kind of like talking about before we started recording. That we're both. I'm not from San Diego. I'm from Mexico City, but I live in San Diego now. You're from San Diego, so you are now based in LA.
Yeah, I'm in Glendale right now, so I've been out here for like 9 years. Yeah, but I go back and forth. My kids are in Coronado, so I go back and forth on the weekends to get them and bring them up here. So yeah,
So fun fact that I don't know if I've ever shared this. The first place I lived and when I moved to San Diego was Coronado.
it's nice there. What'd you think about it? What do you think about Coronado?
I mean, it's nice when you're there, but it's a nightmare to get in and out of it.
Yeah, for sure. It is for sure. But once you get there, I think it's very family orientated and like military. I like it. It's very I like the community. It's very like a nice little gem in San Diego that yeah, I really like it. That's cool. That's awesome.
Mhm.
I'm from National City, the other side of the bridge, so it's a little different than
On the
Coronado. But
other
I'm from
side.
yes, yes, I'm from National City, so that's kind of like where I grew up. Yeah.
And something that I learned about you is that you bring your lived experience a lot into your work. Has there ever been a moment when whoever you're working with tried to say like, "No, maybe that's too much. Let's erase that part."
I mean, I think not in there has been those situations, especially like with horchata with oat milk, which that was kind of like a joint thing. It wasn't just kind of like my ideas, and I kind of come from like the music video stuff, where like it's all me, one man band type of deal. So that
Mhm.
was a transitioning period. But when we did the horchata with oat milk, it was definitely like a different experience because it was like more collaborative. And it's like with the editing and stuff, like that's kind of where we had our battles, but we had different point of views. And then once we kind of like I kind of opened up and kind of was like, I remember my friend telling me, which has changed my perspective of everything. He was just like, let's just try it. Instead of like fighting for your fighting for your thing, it's like just
Mm.
try it. And once I let go, like a lot of magic started happening. And also like my friend John, which is executive producer, we're kind of telling like stories from LA. I'm from San Diego and he's from LA, and the story that we were telling is from like this small little place called Frogtown, where we used to be very like gang like activity and this and that. And right now there's like a big transitioning happening with the gentrification. So he saw it from
Yeah.
like, what I'm saying? He saw it when it was happening. And now he's like, so he kind of was like an advisor for that, letting us know. So, I kind of was the one leading the pack, but I had to be like super open. But most of the times, like with like my ideas and my stories, like I think they're like encouraged. Like right now it's kind of like I'm a representative for those that like, what I'm saying, for the people that where I grew up. Like I think I've been through like a lot and like living in like National City, moving around Chula Vista, Tijuana, and all that stuff. Like as a little kid, like I've seen like a lot of stuff that I
Mhm.
think like kids kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like I have kids my age when I was
They
running around
shouldn't
doing
be
that stuff.
seen.
Yes, I'm like, I see my son, I'm like, "That's a little kid, he's a little," he's a child, and I was,
Yeah.
being out there, like, kinda, like, thinking you're, like, a grown, you know what I'm saying? Thinking you're in the mix doing stuff that you're not
A
supposed to,
grown little
but
man.
yeah, you think you're a grown little man, but, I don't know, I think, I haven't been stopped, I think I've been, like, encouraged, and just like with this one, it was, like, more collaborative thing, so, it was like I said, in the beginning, it was, like, kinda difficult, but then it became, like, a blessing, because without, like I'm telling you, once I, like, let go, and that's what I tell, like, people, I was just like, we all have, like, gifts, right? And, like, God put these people, like, in my life, I'm not the only one that like, "Oh my god, you're gifted." It's like, no, like, he put gifts in everybody, so it's like, once you, like, kinda sit down and listen, it's like, there's, like, gold in that, not that,
Mm.
you take everything, but you take, like, those, like, "Oh, yeah, that's cool." There's some battle, you give and take, but that's kinda, for at least for the horchata, that's kinda what happened, which was a blessing, but it was hard too. In the beginning, it was hard because I'm telling you, I'm coming from a place where, like, I was a guy and, like, people, like, are praising me for, like, these music videos and being creative and the shorts that I'm doing, so it's just like, but I was doing it in such a smaller
Yeah.
scale, and now when, like, more people are involved, there was, like, a transitioning stage, but, even now, like, I'm telling you, it changed my perspective because it's like I don't have all the answers, and we all have different perspectives that could, like, input, so it's like, um so yeah, so it's pretty, I don't know if that answered the question, but, like, it's kinda in that world.
It did. And I'm curious now, how did the team come together? And talking about compromises, how how did you know, and I wanna talk about intuition because you have this story about your mom saving you, but how did you know that was, like, you needed to push and be like, "No, I really think this is gonna be good," and that moment of, "Okay, I'm going to sit back and allow this to flow and let somebody else run with it," especially, coming from a one-man show?
Yeah. I mean, I think that the team became organic, like I came to Los Angeles to kind of pursue my career in film. I was in the military, did like 9 years in the military, but I was always been a creator, going from school and everything, but I just came out here by myself, I came out here by myself, and I started interning with Jeff, which is the producer of Horchata with Oatmilk, amazing cinematographer, and he's kind of like the one that kind of inspired me to like take the jump, because when I was doing stuff like as like 16, 17-year old, and then also shooting music videos in San Diego after like when I got a little bit older, I just was trying to like it was fun, it was like fun, and I was trying to contribute to my friends because they were like all rappers. I can't do none of that stuff, but it's like, what can I do? So I was making them look really good, but I never saw it as a career or nothing like that. But when I saw Jeff, I seen like a BTS video of him like on a director's chair, and he's talking about like he made this movie Sulu Six, and there's like zombies in the background and all kinds of stuff going on. And then
Mhm.
I'm just like, wait a minute, like, oh, that's like his job. Like there's jobs, and then now I start looking at the credits, and it's like all those are positions and jobs, and I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Because what I was doing, I just thought like I was helping, I was helping the friends, and it's like, I didn't think it was like I could make a living off of this or nothing.
Wow.
Mhm. And then, from there, I kinda start like doing that where it's like I like showing all the behind the scenes and all that stuff where it's like because it changed my life, It was just like, oh, it opened my eyes, and if I would've known earlier, I would've been like a lot you never know, you know what I'm saying? But it would've been I would had a different, started sooner. So I started interning with him. Like I ended up like getting stationed in San Diego, and I started interning with Jeff. So I started interning with Jeff. He was already super involved in a lot of like films and stuff like that. And at the same time when I came to I came to intern with Jeff, I remember it was like super late at night. It was like because we would go wild. Like we're editing, and it was like around 2, 3 in the morning, like 2 in the morning, and he's like, "Hey, bro, I gotta go. I gotta go. This is and that." And I was like, "All right, cool, man." And I had some friends that they do music. They're from LA, so I seen them on Instagram, and I was just like tapped in with them. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we're at a studio right here up the street. If you want to pull up." So I ended up pulling up to the studio.
At 3 in the morning?
Yeah, 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 because they do, like, all-nighters. Yeah, that's
Oh
where the
my
magic
god.
happens. So I go to the studio, and then it ended up being, like, around, like, 4 or something, and they're like, "Hey, like, you should just stay here because we have the studio until 6 in the morning, but we're gonna take off, so you don't have to drive back to San Diego because I would just drive back and forth. And I stayed there, and I remember it was like 6 in the morning, and then some guy comes in, starts cleaning up the studio, and his name's John, which is the executive producer of the movie. And like he's like the owner. He
Okay.
was the yeah, he was the owner of the studio, and he's super cool. He's all cleaning up and this and that. And then he's just like, "Hey, what's up? What do you do?" And we start talking, and I told him like what I do, and he was like, "Oh man, I see some of your videos. I know the homie Guzzle. He's recorded here," and that kind of like started that relationship. So Jeff and John, like Jeff, which is the video side, and John was like the music side, which I'm super passionate about. Like I met him around the same time. And I just started, I went on to film school, started jumping on sets with Jeff, and he kind of showed me the ropes. And with John, I would just go kind of like help him out with anything because I love being in the studio since growing up, like 16, 17 years old. Like my friends are rapping and we're trying to do this whole like, do our thing. But it was at a next level over here with like some professional studios and the quality of studios that they had. Like John, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I'm just like, and the passion that he had for giving he has a passion for like service. He just like I want to give them the best service, like if it's some and I'm just like it's contagious. I was like, oh, I love it. So whatever I could do, I would be like, how can I help? I would shoot like or like little promos, music videos. He had some artists. And then years passed, and one day he just tells me he just tells me like, hey, let's shoot a movie, because I guess he saw the passion of like me doing the thing. And I was like, oh wow.
The
So
hunger.
luckily, yeah, it was one of those things where they say, right, those like little memes and stuff, but it's like when like opportunity meets preparation. Like it was at a perfect time,
Yes.
because if he would have told me later on, I mean earlier, when I was like shooting music videos by myself, I wouldn't have known what to do. But now I already had done like PAs and interned and all that stuff. So, and I knew Jeff that was super involved. So it was like, boom, like it was perfect. And that's like what created the team. I brought Jeff, and I was like, hey, John, this is, they kind of knew each other a little bit, but they've never worked with each other. And Soso too was, he was like the manager at the watch, and he was super involved. And both of them, they just kind of like invested in me. They're like, dude, you're super passionate, like what's up, like like we'll put in, and like let's figure this out. And then once again goes to like, all right, cool, let's shoot a movie. And like I came out here to kind of like learn to do film, to shoot these movies, right, that are a lot darker, a lot like intense. It's like, I'm trying to like show what I came from, because I'm trying to like save, like not save kids, but like kind of like, hey, it's not what it looks like at the end.
Mhm.
But, so I was
Mhm.
kinda trying to do that, and my homie John, he was just like, "Yeah, bro," like, he's from LA, he's from the Valley, he's also was, like, in that world, but now he's, like, a successful business owner, and he's just like, "I don't even want that in my life, it's super negative, like, I don't wanna bring that energy, like, I'm all about business, making money," like, you know?
Yeah.
He was just like, "I'm not trying to do that, like, that vibe, like, I'm good off of that, but let's do something funny and light and stuff like that." And it's like all of us, we always had we want our Latino Friday. So we're like, "Okay, that'll be fun," like a
Mm.
vibe of Latino Friday. And then that's when he was just like, "Bro, check this out," and he took me to this little town, which was like the Frog Town. And we walked it, and we're just like, he's like, "Bro, it used to be crazy right here, like, you couldn't even walk through here, and now it's just all hipstered out, like, it was crazy." And then there's a little bit of like homies that are still it was just like it's almost like also
Chipsters?
how chipsters. Yeah, chipsters, and which that's what my homie is. He's a freaking chipster because he's like a cholo hipster. But even like right now, it's crazy. We were out there like promoting the movie at passing out flyers and stuff like that at Echo Park, and it's the worlds there are crazy. You see like homies, and then you see just like crazy hipsters all like in this big old like pod at the park, and it's just like, damn, this is the movie in real life. So that's
Yeah.
how. Yeah. So I mean, just how did the team come together? It was just I was just helping them for years. Like helping them because I believed in what John was doing, and it was just like it was, he's contagious to be around because like he just wants to do the best. And that's how like when I was growing up, it's just like that was our friends. Like we're gonna be the best. We're gonna start our record label. We're gonna do
Mhm.
like like the Rockefeller, Damien Dash. Like I felt like I was always leading the pack. And then life happens, but I like like our friends, they did their thing, but I was still like on that like Imma figure it out. Imma do it by myself if I have to or whatever. And then finding them, they're on the same mission. So we're like, we just all clicked because we're on that same mentality of like we want to be the dopest like Latinos out there. Like, everybody has their pockets, but we don't have like no big leaders to look up to. We do have like which I big ups to Jimmy Humilde. He's like, he's doing it, like he's doing it. He's cool. He has the cars, he has the labels. Like, we have one of them. He's like our Damien Dash. He's like our, you know what I'm saying? Like one of our leaders, but we need more of them. And it's always been like that's always been like a desire of mine, to be like part of a team that like brings this like dopeness. Like, damn, those are dope Latinos. They're doing some cool stuff, And and we
Mm.
just clicked, and they were on the same mission from in a different city, and we clicked, and it's like, oh, okay. And that's kind of what lit the fire. And I think like us having like the same like mentality of like doing something like dope and great and making history, it clicked, And yeah, so that's how that was kind of long-winded, but that's how like the team met. I know there was a second question in that, but that's how like we all linked up.
I love that. So, Chris, how you often talk about growing up in National City in San Diego. For the people outside of San Diego and outside of California that don't know National City, give us a little background on what that is like. And I'm also very curious about how does a kid like you who grew up in an environment that could be considered kind of heavy,
Mhm,
where does that hunger came from? Because it's very easy, especially looking at the system and how the system's built. When you're in those neighborhoods, when you are like when you have the people around you, we tend to just do what the models that we have around do. And so where did it come from that you were like, okay, I'm going to be a part of this and be proud of my heritage, be proud of my cultura, and at the same
mhm.
time I want to succeed, quote,
Yeah.
succeed, whatever that means.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's like a tough one, but it's like San Diego. You think of San Diego, you think like beautiful weather, America's finest city. There is some amazing places, La Jolla, Coronado, and there's all that. And that's what like the first thing that, and it's beautiful. I love San Diego. There's all that, but then there's also these little cities and neighborhoods that are a little different, that are a little bit kind of more there's more struggle in them, like the energy is a little bit different. And I'm from National City, and I think National City is one of those cities where, I mean, there is like, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. There's like a lot of like hardworking families. I think that energy is there too. There's like, there's like pockets of successful people, and it's a beautiful thing. I think we're all these cities are super prideful of their city, but within that too, it's like, I think at the time I was growing up in the '90s and all that stuff, it was like very like the gangs were heavy, and it was like it was intense,
Mhm.
um it was intense. Like, I first ended up like playing, like I always been like a baseball player. That was my thing. And since I was a little kid, I was a baseball player. I was like, like I would sign, sign baseballs, or like practice my autograph. Like, I wanted to be a baseball player. That was like my thing, um but during like the weekends, I would always be out there practicing this and that. And during the weekends, there was times where like we were there at freaking 7 in the morning, like kind of like playing. And then my dad, he would kind of like stay with the other coaches and the friends, and would stay there like until like 2, 3 in the morning with all the other kids' sons, So we're just like, we're in this big old, yes, it was crazy. And this is like Kimball Park, like during the day it's cool and all that stuff. And but then would just play in this big old park, and then that park would turn like kind of crazy, That's when I kind of first started seeing like
Yeah.
the whole like the gang life, where we're little kids, so they wouldn't do nothing to us. But that's when we started seeing like these groups of people and like this energy, and it was like crazy that you start seeing like people like doing drugs, and like people getting jumped, and it's like there's this like tension, and you're just like, oh my god, watching this as a little kid, like it's scary, but then it's also like kind of like cool, because it's like, they got all the
Mm,
like cool names, and you're like a little kid, you're like, 8, 10 years old, and you're seeing them like, they got dope names, and like people like kind of give them this respect when they come in the room, and you're just like, whoa, and
mm.
that was kind of like my first like taste of that energy. It's an energy, it's just like, whoa, I don't know what I'm feeling, but my body feels like, it's intense.
Something's happening.
Oh, yeah, but there's something there, but in these pockets of the city, there's like that, and it's pretty much just I feel like it's a lot of like lost kids trying to find like a group, like,
Mhm, belonging.
yeah, that has helped me out a lot, because it's like I don't have like I say I don't have like the best relationship with my dad, but he was kind of involved. Like, he would take me to the baseball stuff, and he would always come home and stuff like that. But a lot of my friends didn't have like dads, you know, like my like top 5 friends that I hang around with, like they didn't have like dads, you know, so they had a little bit more freedom. I mean, I had total freedom to go anywhere, but I always just had to come home, you know. But like I was telling you earlier, like, dang, I was just thinking, like, man, I see like a lot of like when I really started seeing like getting involved, hanging out with like friends, I was probably like 11, you know, because I go from like being like this little baseball player, like just like watching it from the outside, like, wow, this is crazy. And then we moved to like a whole nother, like, not another city, but like more like east and like into a whole nother little block. And in the block now, like what I was seeing at the park, these guys are like right here, you know, like they're in the corner,
There?
like they're there,
Oh,
you know? And I'm like, that's when I had like I was like, actually in it, because before I was just like a spectator, right? Like seeing it from a distance, like,
yeah.
wow, these guys are like, you know, and now like I'm in it, you know, like they became the homies became like taggers, gang members, and all that stuff. But I was like 11 years old, and I'm like this little baseball kid that just doesn't even know that world. I'm just like, you know, and there's other kids that are born into that, you know,
Totally.
like, I kinda, like, dropped into that city, but there's kids where, like, their parents are, like, they come from generations of that. They don't know nothing but that, you
Yeah.
know? But for me, like, I'm going from this, like, little baseball kid to, like, "Whoa, these guys are, like, right here," like, you know? And I remember the first time that, like, I had, like, an actual, like, interaction with the homies, like, my friend, she lived, like, up the street, like, she lived up the street, so I, like, moved close to her, and I was like, "Oh my god, I live right by you." And I remember, like, 11 years old, like, 12 years old. No, it was, like, 6th grade, however you are old are in 6th grade. I think, like, we're 11?
Sí, como 10, 11.
Yeah. So I remember, like, she lived up the street, so I remember, like, going and walking to her house, and when the first time I'm all walking to her house, that's the first time I get hit up by the homies. They roll up on me, "What's up, homie? Where you from?" And I'm just like, I'm 11 years old, then, like, I'm just like, it didn't even click, like, "Where you like, I was like, "What?" Like, and then we get into, like, a little, like, scuffle, and I was, like, probably, like, 11, and he was probably, like, 14, and he had 2 older twin brothers, so they were kinda like, "Oh," like, you know, like, they're already in that mentality, you
All
know?
3 of you of them?
Yeah, but the for my homie, they sent him because he was the small one, you know, the other brothers were just kinda watching, they were older, he was probably like I was like 11, he was probably like 13, the other dudes were like 16, 17, so it was like a whole thing, and I remember, like, we ended up
And you were
fighting and
just
this
going to go visit your friend.
yeah, cause like yes, and that's the thing is funny, cause so I'm just like gonna go and then whatever, we get into a little scuffle, rolling around, and then I still go to her house and, like, kinda, like, tell, like, "Yo, what just happened," right? And then still, like, she was my really good friend, so it's like, I'm not gonna keep going over there, you know? So, again, I end up, like, passing with them, they do the whole thing, but this time, I'm like, "Okay, I know what's gonna happen," so I'm just like I always been, like, kind of, like, having a little temper, you know, just, like, you know? And, so I ended up fighting with them, and then, like, since they saw, like, I was fighting with them, they're just like, "Hey, you wanna hang out?" And I just ended up hanging out with them, you know? They were just like they're just like, "Hey, this" and it was
Oh
crazy
my
because I yeah, it was crazy because I was, like, always, like, the smallest one, you know? I was like they were all older than me, I was always, like, the little kid, you know? So, it was, like it was crazy, and at that point, these kids are kinda, like now, you know, they're, like, hanging out with girls, they're smoking, they're in the mix, they're teenagers, you know? They're, like, teenagers in the '90s
yeah.
in San Diego National City, and it's just, like, you're just, like, "Whoa," watching this whole thing, and, yeah, man, so that's kinda, like, where I grew up from, and then, you know, got into that, like, I'm lucky that, you know, I became part of, like, that little gang or whatever that they just had made up, but then, like, the real gang came and, like, they scooped them up and they're like, "Hey, you gotta be from, like, the hood," you know?
Oh.
And then that kinda saved me because they stopped hanging out there, they had to hang out in a whole 'nother spot, and I was kinda not
But
hanging
they
out
didn't
with them
take
no
you.
more. Well, because I was a little kid, I was, like, 11, 12, so I couldn't just, like, take off all crazy, you know? So it's like they started hanging out in different
Oh.
spots, and they became guys, and it kinda saved me, and that kinda got me more into, like, the party scene and, like, kinda, like, you know, like, hanging out and going to TJ and doing all that stuff as a, like, 16-year-old, but
Yeah.
it was kinda like a blessing in disguise a little bit because like, they were, like, you know, like, they were doing their thing and they had to leave, and I was kinda
They
still
left.
too
They were
yeah,
taken.
they were taken from us, but,
Do you stay in touch with any of them?
yeah, yeah, for sure. They're the homies. I feel like I'm kind of like doing it for a lot of them. They're like supporting me. My homies. Some of them like ended up doing like 20 years in prison and just getting out, and it's like it's crazy, you know, like it's crazy, and it's like I feel like super blessed that I dodged a lot of that because I was there doing stuff with them, and like people that were doing less stuff like ended up getting in trouble and getting in the system, and like I just was super blessed.
Kind of like the movie, no?
Mhm. Yeah, it's just like the movie, and that's the thing. It's like there's a lot of times you're not trying to do that stuff, but there's the like you have to. Like, are you down or not, bro? Like, we're gonna go do that. I've been in like stolen cars, taking them to TJ. We were just like, it was like you can't say like no, you can't say no. It's not even an option. It's
Yeah.
almost like a trick question. And it's like most of the time you're like, man, I don't want to do that, but it's like and then I've been watching like I've been watching the the program, right, since I was a little kid, so it's like, what you can and cannot do, like, you get in trouble for like,
Mm,
showing any type of like, you know? So, I was just super blessed, and I like that's what I feel like I'm kinda, like, doing this for, like, a lot of the friends, and they support me so much, like, I'm their representative. Because it's,
mm,
like, even, like, you see, like, yeah, there was all these things, and they were doing, like, stuff that wasn't good and all that good stuff, but what was in us was there's, like, a lot of great traits, there's, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of, like, loyalty, there's a lot of bravery, there's a lot of, like,
yes.
all that stuff, so it's, like, I feel like I gained all that stuff, like carnalismo, like with my homies, like bringing all that even with like into the business side with my friends, like that I still act the same way, but it's like we have all these great traits, but we're just directing it in the wrong thing.
Mm,
So it's like imagine if you have all these group of people that were like with this like passion and drive and like no quitting, and we're gonna like do it regardless. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they have. But
mhm.
putting it like, all right, cool, let's get all those people and put it into a business, put it into, and we're unstoppable. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
and like that's what I have. So it's like it was almost like it's a blessing. It was like it's a blessing because it's in me, and it's like it's in me. You know what I'm saying? Like those traits are in me. I'm just using them for the right purpose, and it's a program. So even all the way like in LA and all that stuff, like John and them, they come from that same like program of like, like
Just different
if we're gonna
geography.
yes, like yeah, just like if it's me versus all them, me and you versus all them, then it's me versus you, but I'm not leaving. So there's that, and like that's
Mhm.
like has been like that's why we clicked so good with John, you know what I'm saying? Because we come from the same place. Like, and and he's like, I love him. I love like how he is because it's like his perspective of like trying to like do good, trying to do good, and like like influencing these kids like to be business owners, and we're just kind of like the face, and like we just like it's good because we look like you guys, but we're trying to like be business owners and
Right.
all that stuff. So it's like we need to have like people that's like, yo, man, they're cool, they're just like us, like I could still be cool and like kind of be like that because it's like it's hard. Like I didn't grow up looking up to like, oh man, that's a cool construction business owner, or like that's a doc. They weren't cool. To me, they were like dorky or whatever the case may be. But it is okay. You could still be cool and have these like businesses. Like I have friends in San Diego and Logan Heights that have like their own coffee shops that are super like cool, and it's like it's so dope. Like we have all the traits. But I still stay connected with my friends. Like I said, like they're kind of like encouraging me to keep going, because they know like what like they've been through the whole ringer, and it's like, damn, at the end of the day,
Mhm.
this was not it, and now they're trying to catch up. So I just feel like I'm like a reporter and a representative, like for them, like I do it for definitely, I do it for my city, and almost I do it like for like as if like myself looking at myself. If I was like a little kid looking at myself, like, damn, that's dope. Like I don't,
Mm.
because I wasn't the best student. I was out. I D's, F's, like, it was crazy. I wasn't that, but we all have different things. Like, there's stuff that, like, that a doctor super A student can't do what I could. You know what I'm saying? We all have
Right.
different gifts. And it's like, there was a time where I would just put like myself down, like, damn, like you're not, like you're not the best reader, you're not this, but it's like I'm a doer. And if some stuff is harder for me, it's like, cool, I'll just come in earlier and stay later. But you're not gonna outwork me. That's the thing. You're not gonna like outwork me. So um I'm trying to like tell like the kids out there, because there's some kids that feel like, oh, I'm just never gonna be nothing. I'm not good at school, and it's not all about school. Sometimes you're just going into school and getting into debt when another person had a little plan, and it kind of is gonna be running circles because you have a
Mhm.
plan. But it's about like having a plan. So I'm kind of like trying to do that specifically, I mean, for whoever, but specifically for the kids from my city, from my school, from like San Diego, to be like, come on guys, like, and even in the entertainment industry, like, we don't I've never seen nobody in San Diego be like, oh dang, this world doesn't exist, you know and like
Right.
I'm like trying to like I'm trying to be the bridge from the entertainment to San Diego, because it's like us too, like we have stories too, and they don't just have to be gang stories. Like I was asked this question too, it's like they could just be successful Latino stories. There's another kid out there that could tell these stories, that have their experiences that we should tell them, um but, that's, San Diego National City.
Well, I think I love bringing in a 360 perspective. I think it's important to showcase, and that's what I really enjoyed from the movie, is that you have the mom who is siempre habla español, no? And then
Mhm.
she siempre está enojada, and like that way of loving you with like anger type thing, you know? That we've
Yeah,
all
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's my grandma, you know? She always like calls me all the things, and I know that's her form, like, because that's what she received,
Yeah, yeah.
you know? And I think that's important to, like, to your point of, does it always have to be about gangs? I think if we remove the focus on the gangs, but we bring the reality that that's the environment that we've been put
Mhm,
into, it
mhm.
brings the whole humanity of who we are and how we show up in the world. And
Yeah,
I do think it's valuable to say, look, this young kid who grew up in National City and was literally living in a block full of gang members made the choice, because it's a choice, made the choice to then join the military and then follow a dream without dismissing the fact that you would still live that reality, you know? And I think it's
yeah.
important to highlight that, because we can't dismiss the truth by telling a different truth. The only way to tell our stories is to tell our stories the way they are.
And that's the thing, you're just, like, telling your truth, and even, like, first of all, thank you so much for watching the movie, that means a lot, you know what I'm saying? I really appreciate that, for you taking the time and checking it out, but
Yeah, it
yeah,
was
like,
funny.
yeah, and, like, it's crazy because that's my story, right? But my sister lived in the same house and has a completely different story. We
Totally.
lived in the same house. She has a completely different story. She didn't like grow up around gang members and this and that. She was like, great student. She ended up going to UCSD. She became a teacher, teaching back at her school. She bought a house. Like we come, like, you know what I'm saying? Like now it's like she
Yes.
looks at me like, dang, I can't believe you're like you made this switch, because it's like they were just waiting for me to go to jail or die. That was the
Mm,
thing. It was just like, and now she's just like, you're like a whole different person, but I'm not, I'm just like kind of refocused. But it's like you could tell that story and it's a whole different story. Like if you could just, take
totally.
me out of like, what I'm saying? Like if I was in her movie, I would just be popping in and out every once in a while, like, oh my, she didn't live the story. She didn't go out at TJ partying at as a teenager and running around with these. She don't have that. And those are stories that we could tell too. Like, there could be like I'm telling you, she went to UCS. That's huge. That's huge. And like,
Yeah.
there, what I'm saying? Like in our family, she led the pack. She led the pack. She was
Like,
great.
well, is she the dental assistant? What's her name in the movie?
Susie is my
Susie?
sister. That I love
Yeah.
Susie. She was such a great vibe. But and then the mom too, like everybody has a different story. Like if you just tell it like a real life story of the mom, imagine the stuff that she was going through. Yeah, we made it funny, but
Totally.
dude, she has one of the kids like doing like 20 years in prison. The dad died, and then you have this other like younger kid just kind of like seems kind of irresponsible, just hanging out, talking about I'm gonna get famous, like doing YouTube. It's like you
Cosplaying
think
gang members.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You think she's not gonna be mad? Like, I got these men just sitting around the house. So it's like there is that, you know what I'm saying? You could just tell a story about the
Mhm.
mom and why she's there. Those are real people. Yeah,
Totally.
we like como se dice, we characterized them, like, you know what I'm saying, made them characters. We made them characters or whatever, but
Yes.
take all that stuff and just put real life. Imagine that lady. Like, she really, like, lived with these kids, and she's a single mom, and then she has this, like, the brother that's living off her that has it was a gang member too. Like, take off all the funny stuff and just put yourself in that
And the
scenario, like
tias.
The crazy tias. Oh, the tias remind me of my tias. They're just like you could hear them from a block coming. Just
Right.
oh my god, I love them. I got to take them in small portions though. But
Right.
yeah, yeah. But it's like then that was the thing, like, from the beginning is like, let's be funny, but at the end of the day, that's just the hook. Like, for yeah, 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 but at the end of the day, we're
Mhm.
saying like, "Hey, we need to start working with each other." Like, what are we doing? We're, like, fighting ourselves. Like, there's this moment that I'm just like, "Damn, this is so crazy and so real." Like, there's these people, right? We'll say this subculture taking over their neighborhood, right? They're taking over the neighborhood. They feel like they're taking over the neighborhood, but when he's like, there's this part where the spider guy, right? He's driving down the car, and they're looking for somebody, and they're not messing with nobody until he says, "Look, there's somebody that looks just like us." And that's who you're gonna fight. The
Yes.
person that's like the person that should be on your side. We should be like. I'm not saying it's us versus them. Like I think like there it's the gentrification and all that stuff. Yeah, there's pros and cons, but we need to be part of that change. Like I rather have like business owners, creative little spots where we're the owners than like say have like a group of
Right.
homies at the park just like figuring out a way. Like you can't even walk through the park or take your kids to the park because they're doing drugs and gang banging and all that stuff. Like I rather have the homies have like, you know, freaking restaurants and all that
Their
stuff. And
coffee shop.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, it's not like it's not you don't lose your coolness or like nothing. Like I have homies in Logan Heights that have the Por Vida coffee.
Yes, I know Por Vida.
Yeah, that's the homie Milo. Like he's a
Yes.
legend pillar of Ruben Torres doing crazy
Yes.
stuff for San Diego. Like these are my people, and they're the coolest people that I looked up to. You know what I'm saying? They're my guys. You know, I'm just doing my part. You know, but so like it's like that's cool. Like hanging out at the park as a as an older dude, just kind of trying to figure out, trying to make a couple little bucks off a scheme is not cool. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like, but going every day to work, coming up with designs, coming up with what is it gonna look like, how we gonna like it's the same get down. Like the structure is the same. Like, how we gonna get our product out to these guys that they're gonna like it? We gotta make it so good that they're gonna come back. And it's just like
Mhm.
you use the same mentality, but with like goodness, and you'll kill it. And I think, yeah, it's like it's there, like it's just like perspective, and like my mission is to tell them like, yo, you guys got it, you got it in you. Just put it here, and get the same homies that are doing that and planning, because that's what I would just spend time
And
planning with the
hire
homies. Like,
them
yes, and it's like we have it all twisted. It's like there's someone that looks just like us. Attack that. Why? Like, why? I get it, and
Mhm.
and it gets deeper than that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's
So much deeper than
yeah, there's
that.
wars, like, that's easy for me to say, but if somebody, like, from that side killed my brother, it's like, you ain't telling me nothing, and I get it, right? Like, I get it, but we gotta break these chains where it's just like so it doesn't continue to happen.
Because it's what the system wants.
Yes, because it's like, it's pretty when it comes out to that, it's just the system. Because at that point, have these fools whatever, let's bring them to
Just
jail,
fighting each other, then nobody grows.
that's pretty much free slavery. Let's make money off that. We own the jails, so we're kind of like getting money from the
Mhm.
government and this and that. But it's crazy. Like, let's kill ourselves inside, but then you go outside, but then you go inside, and we must be friends. It's not the streets, and it's like, what? It's just so crazy, So it's like, let's not let them win because we're not winning.
Totally.
I got homies that are like, I'm telling you, that did their thing. They became guys. They have names, and they came out, and they're starting from scratch. Like, no, don't do that. Like, so it's like, but yeah, as a kid, like that was one of my dreams. It was like, oh, I want to see it feels like to go inside and who I am when if I go inside and getting locked up. Can you believe
Mm.
that? Like that was like as a 12-year-old,
Wow!
as a 12, 13-year-old, that was my thing. It was just like I just don't want it on my record, Like, I just wanna see who I am and how I will act in that.
Wow.
Yeah, because like, all these American me's, the freaking blood in, blood outs, you're just like, "Dang." Like, and then you see other friends that have gone in that are like you think like, "Oh, this guy's a little softy," and it's like, if he survived, like and it's crazy it was just like that, But,
Yeah. But you joined the military instead.
yeah, I joined the military, which was a lot like the freaking, like, jail. It was just, like, a lot like
Right.
it's the same system. I joined that, and, that they literally have the same system, like, it's crazy. There's so much similarities in both of the
Yes.
worlds, and it was crazy because, I joined the military, and again, using all those homey traits and, like, the like, made me succeed so much in the military. Like, I was already disciplined. I wasn't gonna talk back to these, like, you don't talk back to these older dudes because you're gonna get got. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're gonna get disciplined, bro. And I've seen that. So it's like the military was like that. So I advanced so good, like so good, so fast. Like it was just like I already knew the program. It wasn't new to me. I was just like, I know how to behave, I know what to do, I know how to like and it saved my life. It was just like the discipline the military put into me is just has helped me so much, like doing what you don't want to do and having to finish because you have to because that's the mission. That was the movie.
Yeah.
The movie was the hardest thing, but it's like we had a mission and we're not gonna stop until we're done, bro. You know? Like, it was just
Uh-huh.
like yeah, every single thing like that I have experienced has helped me out with, like, this directing in the movie, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, being in the military, like, I was always, like, in charge of, like I was a watch commander since my first command, like, so that means, like, I was, like, the one, like, people would line up and I would tell them what it was crazy, and it's just, like, the exact same thing, like, directing, it's crazy, like
Yes.
yeah, and it's like, I had to go through that to be here, like, you can't,
Mhm.
I had to go through all that to just kinda, like it's been so helpful, you know?
I really enjoyed that what you just shared about how the systems looking at it from a system standpoint. Being part of a gang is belonging, being part of the military, you belong to a group, which is another system. And so I think what's important and what you're thank you for modeling that it's possible to stick with the culture, it's possible to still be a homie and make the system work for you or work with it instead of
Mhm,
let the system oppress you and dig you deeper into the depths of all the violence and the putting
mhm,
against each
mhm,
other. And I think more even now more than ever we need those models like you and all of the people that you know to come forth and share our stories in a way where we feel represented, in a way where we feel like, oh, that's like my tío, but he owns a business, like
mhm,
those intersections. I think they're important to tell without showing only the side of they just chose to put their head down and read the books and they just assimilated. And the
mhm.
assimilation of the quote success, and we only see that. I think it's important to see both sides to say, no, I was chilling with the homies and I'm a director. And both, and like you show your whole 360 view. That's important.
Yeah, no, for sure, like, I'm just telling you, it's just, like, redirecting for sure, redirecting, like, the energy, but, oh, man. Yeah.
It's a lot. So, Chris,
Yeah.
tell us everything about the movie, where we can find it, where can people can watch it, where people can find you. Drop all the things.
That's dope. So the movie Horchata with Oatmilk, it's a Latino comedy. We say it's a Latino Friday. It's about a guy that gets out of jail, comes back to his neighborhood to realize it's all gentrified. So it's super funny. We have some of the most funniest influencers right now that kind of just took off, which is Jerry Garcia, Concrete, Duno. We have Jay Valentino, Anthony El Fernandez, which he's like the face of Modelo. We have so many people in there. Alex Gibson, which they're all taking off with his little grumpy homie. But um, yeah, I mean, you guys could check it out at horchatawithoatmilk.com. It's extremely independent. It's just us directly to you guys, direct to consumer. Um, by you guys purchasing, it's helping us out to kind of put out more content like this. We want to work on a series. We want to work with other comedians, with other and give people opportunities. So it's like you're kinda being part of that, by purchasing, you're being part of that movement, We say it's not a movie, it's a movement. We're excited about it.
Mm.
I mean, we say horchata with, like, oat milk, like, we are horchata with oat milk. We are a part of the change, Like, we are kinda like, the new Chicano 2.5. But, yeah, I mean, that's kinda you guys will enjoy it. I guarantee you guys will enjoy it, like, we've got so much, like, praise from it. It was, nerve-wracking to, like, show it, like, because it's, like, you're so vulnerable, but we got the coolest people that we thought out here in LA that are in the industry and showed them in the premiere, and they were just, like, blown away. It was crazy. I wish you would've gone to
Nice.
that. I wish you would've gone to that, but it
I
was just, like
know.
it was so dope because there's people that, like, that we kinda appreciate that, like, we've been following on Facebook, actors Emilio Rivera, uh, American Cholo, like these big podcasters. And it's funny because like they came out and you could see, like I could tell, like I could see it in their eyes where it's like they really liked it, you know. But a lot of people were like, dude, we just came to kind of like check it out, but it's actually a movie. It's actually a really good movie, you know? And it's just like
Yes.
it took, yeah, like they were surprised, but it's like we took a while to take it, but that's because we really wanted to. We felt like we had one shot to like really tell like the quality in our stories, and I'm so glad that we took that time because you could see, like, I mean, you saw it. Uh,
Mhm.
it's fun. Like there's no, I don't think there's no like corny moments. I think there's like over the top moments that are like, what the hell are you guys doing? But then it just switches to a whole nother scene where it's like, oh my god, there's actually a message here, and then you go back to the
Yeah.
chaos. So it's like it was like they're just like we'd never seen nothing like this before. But Horchata with oat milk. You can follow anything horchatawithoatmilk.com. I'm Chris Leyva. You can follow me at directed by Chris Leyva. But yeah, man, I thank you so much. I think you guys too because like you guys are a big part of that change. You know, like everybody's doing their part. Like the podcasters, you guys are putting us in this light that's like, oh man, you guys are our, you know, we support you guys. You guys are
Yeah.
our, you know, our directors. You guys are our actors, our business owners, and
Or
you guys put us in.
highlighters.
Yes, and it's like I really appreciate it. Like I was on the True Hustle podcast and all these people because you guys take such good time of like quality and doing like the, and it's like it helps out. So we're all doing our part, you know, because we can't do it ourselves. Like we need to have these
Yes.
platforms where we come and it's like, you know, like that's what I'm saying. Like we're like unstoppable. Like we're good. We have the people and the skills to do it ourselves. And with the technology
Totally.
with the technology that's happening now, it's like we're literally unstoppable. Like literally, like the only thing that's stopping us is like us doubting, us not waking up early, and you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
And it's gonna be tough because we're the ones like paving the road. Like the people that come behind us,
Mhm.
it's gonna be a freeway of back and forth. But we're literally like the ones laying the, like it's tough. We're out in the sun right now, laying the gravel, like, and it's fine. Like it's cool. Like I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm with it.
And
So
there's so many
um,
of us. We don't
there
all have
is.
to do everything.
No, we just have to, we're building this town, like, you know, like you guys are doing the, we'll do the
Mhm.
floor, you guys do the edificios, and we're creating this community where it's like, this is dope, and like, I don't even, I like it here. I like it here, you
Yes.
know? We're loved
Totally.
here. This is where
Totally.
we're at. Like, the cool people are over here. So it's like, I don't need to like, you know, I'm not trying to go into another like we're doing it. We're doing it harder or like it's harder, but it's like it's so satisfying. Like I'm telling you, the movie was so hard to make. There was times where it's like, I don't know if we're gonna do it, you know? And then just finishing it and like having the reaction from people, it's just like, oh, I can't believe that there was even a drop of
It
like
was worth it.
it was all worth it. Like I'm telling you, it was just like the feeling of like it felt like winning like a championship belt, like a UFC championship belt, like all since you know, like working for this, and you're just like, oh my god, we did it. And then just like you know, just how the fighters, as soon as you win, they're like, what do you do next? You're like, dude, I just kind of I just got here. Hold up, you know? They're
Let me
like, what's
enjoy
next?
this.
And it's like, hold up, like I'm still have scars from back here, uh, but
Right.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. Like that's dope. I appreciate it for having us. Yeah,
Yeah, so tell me what you're drinking.
I'm drinking horchata with oat milk. My girl just made me some coffee, some morning coffee. She does like a little latte. But what are you drinking over there?
Nice. I am drinking cacao with coffee.
No, it's funny. I'm saying it's funny because it's like we're doing some research when we're like kind of like doing the movie, and we're looking at what is it, Portlandia? Have you ever seen Portlandia?
Okay.
So
No?
Portlandia, there's it's like over the top comedy stuff or whatever, and there's this episode where it's like they're being like they had like a code word, like if stuff gets a little crazy, and their code word was cacao. So they were like, "Cacao." So it's so funny. Like that was like that's like stop playing. Like if we say cacao, that's like stop. You know,
You need to
Portlandia.
chill? That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. So I haven't heard it since then.
No, this
That's
is actual
funny.
cacao.
That's cool. What is it like a plant or what's cacao?
Cacao, oh my gosh, Chris. So, cacao is chocolate,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
where chocolate comes from,
Oh,
so it's a
the
fruit.
cocoa cacao. Okay.
But it's cacao because the fruit of cacao is it's kind of like this big, and it started growing in Mesoamerica, which this is before borders existed. So the land that we call Mexico, Ecuador, Peru, like there's so many like around the area. Cacao, the plant of cacao only chose to grow in those areas. Later, it was taken to Africa, and now the biggest cacao producers are in Africa. But the foundational land that cacao as a plant chose was Latin America.
Oh wow,
And
okay,
so the
okay.
fruit of cacao, so this is like some fun facts you didn't know you wanted. The fruit
But
of
needed.
cacao has little seeds, como coffee beans, but like bigger. And those the Mexicas, like ancient civilizations, the Aztecs, as people call them as well, they started roasting them and then making a drink. Entonces se llamaba chocolatl.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
chocolatl roughly translates to bitter drink. And so what they noticed is that they didn't know at the time that, I mean, it started with the Olmecs and the Mayans and the Aztecs, no? And so I'm just giving you kind of like the spark notes. What they noticed is that every time they would drink this bitter water, they would get like energy. What we know now is that the when you roast the cacao beans and you grind them and you put them with hot water, there is theobromine, there's healthy fats, there's magnesium, there's zinc, there's so many incredible things. And theobromine is a compound that it's a cardiovascular compound that opens up your blood vessels, and so it gives you a lot of vitality. And so Moctezuma, the the ancient emperor, that would be his drink, his daily drink. He would always be drinking cacao because that then what they decided the civilizations is that cacao was not just a regular schmegular drink. It was the drink for the emperors and for loyalty, for the royalty. They would also give it to warriors before they
Oh
would go and
wow.
run. And there's also pozol, which is cacao with corn, and combined, for example, it's a full meal because you have the fats, the magnesium, the zinc of and the theobromine from the cacao, and you have the fiber and the protein from the corn. Combined, that would be the drink that people would just take on as they would farm, as they would travel and like go fight, And so when Hernan Cortes came to the Americas, Moctezuma gave him some cacao, and he was like, "What is this?" And he was like, "It's chocolatl." So he took it back to Europe, and he was like, "This is chocolatl. I don't know." And so then people were like, "Chocolate." So then that's where the name of chocolate came. But once it landed in Europe, it started getting industrialized, and so cocoa, what we call cocoa now, is cacao without fats. So it's exploited cacao basically. So it just they remove all of the things and they just make it this like powder without fat, and that's what makes cocoa, which is not you want cacao, you want the
Nice. Yeah,
real.
yeah. Are you like a herbal healist or like what is how do you what
You're like, what is this?
no, yeah, just like I
So
mean like how do you know all that
how do
stuff?
I know so
Yeah.
much about this? So I got into cacao because cacao called me. Like, I have this spiritual side, and so I was dealing with a lot of hormonal issues and like reproductive system stuff, and I came across cacao and I started drinking it and it healed me. Legit. Like true
Mm.
story. And so I was like, what is this weird thing that I'm drinking that like I don't have any pain anymore? And so I learned so much about it. And I facilitate cacao circles now, and there's a whole other side
Yeah,
of my
the
business now.
herb stuff is real. Like I mean that's where they get the medicine
I mean,
from
it's where
the
medicine
herb.
comes
Yeah,
from.
it's like it's legit. It's legit. And even that system is like we're not like like you should get it through the herbs because it's just a business at that point. It's just to maintain, not to fix. Like it's crazy.
Mhm,
But that's
mhm.
okay. That's cool. What is are
Yeah,
you
so when you
are
come to San Diego, I'll take you to get some cacao.
awesome? Heck yeah, that's awesome. What do you are you?
Like,
What do
for
you
I'm
do? Are you like
serious.
a? Yeah, no, I'm down. Yeah, I've never tried it. I definitely would like to check that out.
Bueno, that was my conversation with Chris. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Like I told him, I really think Horchata with Oat Milk could be a whole series. They could definitely develop different characters and have different episodes because I was left wanting more. I was left wanting more of the stories of each character because I feel like the way that they wrote the characters was so rich and real, frankly. It was one of those movies where the characters had layers to them. They were multifaceted, and it made me curious as to, like, maybe thinking, why does he have that poster in his room, or why does he wear the hair like that? And so I think I love being able to explore further and be able to talk with the directors and kind of like have these conversations. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun talking to Chris, and I think we need to continue to support indie and black and brown created films, products, media, content, all the things. Because, pues, ¿por qué no? O sea, we must consume each other in a good way. Pero bueno, I hope you enjoyed this. If you are ready to go deeper, you can join the Café con Pam Supporters Club, where we sometimes give you longer Q&As. We give you bonus episodes. We give you early releases of episodes. We have the link in the description below. You can also check us out on all the socials. Share this with your primos, with your primas, with your tias, with everyone. My goal is for these conversations to give you curiosity around the film. So, for example, you could send this conversation pre or post watching it. And then you can also engage in conversation, whether in the comments or within yourselves. That's the goal, because, good conversations are needed. Thank you so much for being here. Y como siempre, sigue brillando.
Sabrosura pa' ti que